Ahoy, hoy, friends. Welcome to a salon away team. Talk about a crossover. We've got uh, new friends. We've got friends back from sabbatical. We've got a few of our saloners. We've got some exciting stuff to talk about. It is San Diego Comic-Con weekend. And today we had the Star Trek Universe panel with lots of really cool announcements. We're going to talk about each of them and just get excited. The world of Star Trek, the franchise is the state of our franchise is strong and remains vital to the economy, to the livelihood of many other political messaging that has been poll tested and sounds good. No, I'm super jazzed. I truly mean it. It seems like the franchise is in an excellent shape, which, with recent cancellations, with Paramount selling, there have been big questions about what's going to be happening moving forward. And so it's really exciting. We got trailers today. We got stuff about several different series. There's a new series in development. We've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And with me is an intrepid crew of saloners and some special guests. So I want to say hello to everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you in the audience. You're going to hear us talking about all of these various announcements. We want to hear from you what your favorite announcement was, what you're excited about, what you're trepid about. We're going to get into it. Let's go through real quick and just introduce ourselves since we have some special guests on the call. Let's just go in order that you see yourselves on the screen. We'll start with Rachel and move our way down to Trevor.
Hi, I'm Rachel. Happy to be here. And we're also saying that what we're most excited about right now.
Just introducing yourself really quick.
I'm Rachel. You can find me on TextTrek and Masks of Mayhem and other places on the internet.
I'm Jake. I live over at the Nerd Network and just kind of do all the nerdy stuff.
I'm Benjenium. I spend, my name is Benji. My handle is at Benjenium, and I spend all day, most days tweeting about Star Trek and here once in a while.
I'm Matt. I'm the temporal director of the salon and most often a thorn in everyone's anywhere they decide to put it.
Wow.
We're off to a strong start.
Wow. Yep. That's Matt for you. I'm Ken. Everybody knows me. I'm just the nicest guy, and I encourage everybody to recently and forever. How do I say it, Trev? Live long. Wait. Live long and prosper. That's my apparently the catchphrase. And I'm rambling now. That's also something I do, as Stan will remind you numerously as we go through this. So you can find me here. You can find me on talkaboutitonvideo.com, which is the organization that I run. And you can just find me trekking out and geeking out all over the place.
I'm Joanne. I am the Diva in Residence, and you can find me most Thursdays on the salon and usually lurking in the chats on Starfleet Boy After Dark and TextTrek.
I'm Trev, your salon bartender and compliance officer, and you can't find me.
And I'm your co-host, Stanley. Super excited. Welcome to our guests. Welcome to our audience. Thank you all for joining us. This is a rather impromptu chat. It's going to be a little chaotic, very different than the salon is, which is very tight and buttoned up and professional and not at all insane. Be sure to check out our last episode. We have a fun time talking about what we think Jillian should get up to in season 3 of Star Trek Prodigy, which sadly was not announced today, but hopefully in the future we will get that announcement. Before we get started, we of course must always set an intention.
Indeed, we must. But in order to get things started a little bit quicker, today we will set an intention simply by sharing the announcement that we are the most excited about. You don't have to get into the why, because we can talk about that when we actually get into that specific topic. But as always, I'll start us off by sharing that I am the most excited probably about Section 31. Joanne?
I was probably most excited for Strange New World / Section 31.
Ken?
I really enjoyed seeing how once again Lower Decks mimics Star Trek's past and did the trailer from Star Trek 6, the teaser trailer for Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. I thought that was brilliant.
Nice. Little circle where Matt used to be? Nope. Okay. Benji?
I'm going to say, just to be extra annoying, the potential stage adaptation of Subspace Rhapsody. I'm going to call that as an announcement. And is that?
It's as official as it could be, I think. It was said on stage, so I'll take it.
Yep.
Jake, welcome. And what is the announcement that you're the most excited about?
Thank you, sir. I loved the Doctor so much in season 2 of Prodigy and was not expecting it for Academy, so I'm pumped for more Robert Picardo.
That was a cool surprise. I agree with you.
Yes.
Rachel, it's fun to see you here.
Thank you. I was going to say, basically mimicking what Jake just said, most excited about Academy, especially all the people that were announced today.
Nice. Fearless leader?
I am truly not trying to cop out, but I'm pretty jazzed about practically everything that they announced today. I think, like I said earlier, the franchise is doing really well. I'm excited about the future of Star Trek, but I think of everything that we saw today, Section 31, I think that trailer looks fun as hell, and I love when Star Trek tries something different. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be good. This looks fucking great to me, and I'm super excited about it. I love seeing different things, and I think expanding the franchise, bringing in new audiences is just going to be great. The best way, I've said this a lot, the best way to get more Trek is to watch the Trek that we get in the meantime, and if it does well, we're going to get more of it. So with that, let's get into it. We got a bunch of really fun announcements. Running through them real quick. Thank you, Benji. Yes, we did get a bit of an announcement of a potential Subspace Rhapsody stage adaptation. It's gonna need some work, I will say. Now, hear me out. I love that episode. It is a fantastic Star Trek musical. It's a good TV show musical. It is a terrible musical. It is all over the place. And so I'm excited for what the stage adaptation would do to bring in some cohesion. We also got an announcement of very early, it's in development with, I need to learn his name. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go to the official Star Trek Twitter page so that I can pull up some of these as well so that we can see it. And I'm vamping. With a new series in development from co-creators Justin Simien and Tawny Newsome of Star Trek Lower Decks fame and a writer for Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Federation outsiders serving a gleaming resort planet. They find out their day-to-day exploits are being broadcast to the entire quadrant. We're going to talk about that first in just a moment. But we also got a few little tidbits from Starfleet Academy, some casting announcements that were really exciting. We got a clip from the upcoming 3rd season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I have some thoughts, but I am excited for Strange New Worlds to come back. We got a really fun trailer for Section 31, and some, I think we got another casting announcement of young Philippa, but a super fun trailer. And we also got a teaser trailer for the upcoming 5th and sadly final season of Star Trek Lower Decks, which, as Ken said, mimicked Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, as each of the Lower Deck seasons have sort of mimicked the TOS movies in poster form, at least. Lots of fun stuff. Let's start.
And don't forget, Stan. Don't forget Roger Corby.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupt Stan all the time. I have to do that because it's part of my brand.
I believe I did say that we got announcements from we got a clip and announcements from Strange New Worlds, but thank you for reminding everybody. I love it. Who is Roger Corby?
It's the TOSer in me. Who is Roger
Ladies.
Corby?
Ladies, you're both pretty. You're both pretty. Stop it.
We're going to get started with the first announcement, not the first announcement, but this one we've got the least amount of information on. And so let's do predictions and make everything up as we go. Just kidding. Like I said earlier, we've got this announcement. I'm going to share my screen so people can just see it as soon as I get rid of our messages. All right. So again, Star Trek announces a new live-action comedy series in development from Justin Simien and Tawny Newsome. Super exciting. Federation outsiders serving a gleaming resort planet, interestingly unnamed, find out their day-to-day exploits are being broadcast to the entire quadrant. To my intrepid crew, who has thoughts that they would like to share on this announcement? Matt is bewildered and is gesticulating wildly, as we would say. Go for it.
I just want to say, like, it's obvious who the main star is going to be. It's obviously Vanessa Williams, and she is going to reprise her role as the resort leader on Ryza, and we're going to get her it's going to be like Ugly Betty meets Star Trek, and it's still going to be Vanessa Williams as like head bitch in charge, and it's going to be I am actually really excited about it. The more I think about it, yeah. Oh my god! If Vosh, we all know, or for some that have not heard me wax eloquently about Vosh, I love Vosh. Nair to talk about that. But no, I think it would be really fantastic if she actually did show back up and was like just a little cameo, just a little something, as a little toss back of like, oh yeah, she's still around, she's still running Ryza. And we should have a little thing about the weather control systems if it is Ryza.
I think it's super exciting that we're getting something out of Starfleet. We're getting a comedy. It's going to be live action. Definitely expanding things a bit. Who else has some initial thoughts that they'd like to share? Trevor and then Rachel.
I didn't until you said something, or until Matt said something, which is, wasn't there some sort of, I can't remember who made the comment, but it was something along the lines of it being sort of a workplace comedy type situation. How funny would it be if they are actually in the weather control center? Like that's the workplace, is that they're just every day they come in and they're like, sunny and 72 degrees. I think that would be the stuff of.
It sounds a little like certainly not like boosting from it, but it sounds just a little like Avenue 5 from HBO, which is a super fun show. Sadly, only got 2 seasons.
If we could get Star Trek Avenue 5, sorry, Rachel, I don't mean to jump it, but like it would be fantastic if all of a sudden Avenue 5 just like docked and it was just like somehow, don't even explain it. It's an interflexing Fisher portal
Hugh Laurie
quantum string. Yeah, it's just the entire like. Oh,
Ethan Phillips can play a good character for change.
Well, good character. I mean,
Ooh, Rachel, go for it.
It was interesting enriching another show. I was thinking it reminded me of when DC tried to make Powerless, which is like it was a show that was insurance people in the DC universe. It only lasted a season. But it was like a really fun concept. But honestly, if Tawny Newsome wasn't involved in this, I would be have a lot more trepidation than I do. But just like seeing Tawny like so much, I was like, oh, she loves Star Trek the way I love Star Trek. I actually have faith that like these jokes will be good and they won't just like be making fun of like Star Trek in general.
Would you say you have faith of the heart?
You know what? We'll go with that. Sure.
Who else? Anybody have thoughts about this possibility? Ken? Or no, you were just slapping Matt for his
I was slapping Matt. Yeah.
regrettable conjuring.
Yeah. Uh, you know, they said it's going to be like The Office. They compared it to The Office and Parks and Rec. Those
Who
were the
said
two things that they. The article that I read in the Hollywood Reporter said that it was similar to The Office or Parks and Rec, and this idea that they're always on camera, which is sort of like a Big Brother Truman game kind of thing. So I agree with you, Stan, that it's good that they're trying to do something that's completely not Starfleet, and they're stretching their legs a bit in that respect. You know, it's clear to me that Paramount or whoever, Skydance, really wants to try to do something that mimics the hope of what they're doing with Star Wars over on Disney, all different kinds of different shows and different things. And in order to do that, they've got to get away from, the starships boldly exploring concept. So this is this and Section 31, all, the things that they're announcing, Starfleet Academy, they're all, Lower Decks is still the Cerritos, but, these new things that came out today, they're not starships boldly going. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see how they're going to expand it.
I also
so I'm
just
excited.
realized I knew the name was familiar, but Justin Simeon is of Dear White People fame. Hilarious
Yes.
movie and show. And I see he was talking about how The Next Generation was one of his influences. So we've got two strong Star Trek fans in charge of this. I know that some people involved with the franchise are terminally online. So am I. This isn't a drag, but for whoever happens to stumble upon this nonsense, please, for the love of God, recognize that some of the worst people on the internet are going to pop out of their trash cans to trash this fresh, different idea because it doesn't follow the formula, which will be their shield when what they're really saying is they don't trust Black people to be in charge of something. They don't trust women. It is always the same shitty kind of bullshit. Give us this show. Greenlight it fully. Final thoughts on Star Trek workplace comedy.
Do we know if Tawny's going to be in this, or is she just running it?
I have not seen. I just see co-creator.
Okay. She I didn't realize it until a couple of weeks ago when I was rewatching Space Force. She plays one of my favorite characters in one of the astronauts, and she is hysterical.
Yeah.
I actually wish that we would have gotten more Space Force. I thought it was a fantastic show and a great concept of the post-Trump, just that all thing, the whole thing going. I wish that they would have renewed it for more. But
I was shocked.
I agree.
Yeah.
I hated the cliffhanger.
All right. We also got some Starfleet Academy stuff today. First, I want to highlight they shared this really lovely video of some of the new cast. Some actors who are at least one who is, I think this will be their first credit, and a few that are still fresh to acting. A wonderful clip of them getting their roles and how excited they were. I highly recommend folks check it out. It was super lovely. All of these people are just so thrilled to be part of the franchise. We also got the announcement of 4 characters that we have previously known who will be joining Holly Hunter, Paul Giamatti, and the crew, the cadets that they've announced thus far, plus another instructor. We will be getting Tig Notaro back as Jet Reno. We will be getting Mary Weissman back as Tilly. Not a surprise, but still exciting that they finally confirmed it. We will also be getting Odette Fur as Admiral Vance. And probably the biggest surprise announcement for Academy today, Robert Picardo is going to be reprising his role as the Doctor, who we have also recently seen in Star Trek Prodigy Season 2. How fucking exciting. It just says the Doctor. So in my head, there's still a question. Is it the Doctor or the backup? I get the feeling it's probably just going to be the Doctor, but fun will ensue. I'm assuming nobody has thoughts about this and we can just move on. Anybody have thoughts? Want to raise their hand to talk about this? Everybody seems jazzed about it. Who wants to share their thoughts about the Starfleet Academy announcements? I'm trying to keep us somewhat organized since we have so many people on. No hands?
I'll let Rachel go.
Matt's going to explode.
Let's go Rachel, Jake, then Matt.
Just wait and watch Matt explode. He does, like, I'm really excited. As I've been vocal about on Twitter, like Star Trek Academy is basically the show I've wanted for like a decade because I've always just thought it would be a really fun concept. And what I love that video, and I love that they're doing the thing I'd hoped they do, where they were getting some really established actors so that the rest of the cast can all be new actors that are like getting like their first chance. And it's like I'm like equally excited to watch a bunch of new young fresh actors as I am to watch a bunch of actors I already know I'll love. And like because I can't imagine it's like, oh, your first role you get, I was like, you get to act with Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti, like that's amazing. And I'm also really excited by how many actors actors that are already established in Star Trek that we know we're already getting, because I expected like kind of like it would just be Mary Wiseman, and I'm just so happy, especially Robert Ricardo. I like did not expect at all. That was like a pipe dream. I was like, oh, they could do that, but I never thought they would. And I think you said Jake was next.
Sorry, I got sucked into pictures.
That's right.
I cannot wait until there's like a meeting between the four of those characters announced today, because like the prissy bitchiness of Doctor, Tig's dry humor, Holly trying to govern this mess, and then the Admiral just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Why? What is happening? Like that. I love those kind of interactions. And I forgot. I'm binging through Voyager again, and I forgot how much I love that character. Like just watching his arc from, I'm a hologram to I'm a real boy. Like I love it. So I can't wait to see what 1,000-year-old the Doctor hologram. Oh, it's the holograms. It's their videos.
Matt, how about you?
So I am so excited Robert Picardo finally gets like just as much of a spotlight, if not more now, than a lot of the big name. Like, Janeway, we've seen, duel herself. Chakotay and Prodigy, like all of these people, but he has such this like perfect character that can just mesh well as an opposite for so many different characters in the franchise and new characters. Like he just has that. I mean, A, it's his acting chops. He's fantastic. B, I'm really, because remember, this is a live action show now. Like he's not just doing a voiceover. It's not just going to be the hologram. It is Robert Picardo playing the Doctor, which is why I am so hopeful that my dream since the beginning of Discovery, we finally get the Doctor backup from not Latent Image. Oh crap!
Living Witness.
Living Witness. Thank you. That we finally get him. And he's like, well, I wanted to keep up with the humans, so I aged myself. I aged or something like, just a throwaway line of like, this is, or it could be easily just be the Doctor that he changed his, physical appearance to do it. But I'm just really hoping that it is the backup that finally went and found Starfleet. And then he can kind of parallel the discovery journey of like, oh, this isn't the Starfleet I knew. And then he can also play that part of, I'm going to bring this Starfleet back to what I knew, because I was also removed. And then he can also have that with Mary Wiseman, with Tilly, something like that. I just think that there's a lot there to explore about the parallels. And I really think it would. I no matter what he does, I think it's going to be such an incredible just thing to say. I'm really really excited about that. That is what made me giddy. With all of I know I missed it. I apologize. I have a couple work things that I'm getting pulled away for. But that is what I'm most excited about, is seeing Robert Picardo as the Doctor in yet another franchise. So, and who knows? Maybe we'll get a little Neelix drop in there. Just that he'll reference something, a chef that he once knew or something. I don't know.
Joanne or Benji?
I was just trying to think of like what the reason, because I'm assuming they're not going to want to pay to de-age him. So like, what is the reason going to be? Is it going to be what Matt said? Did they pop him into a synth body? Is he an android now? He probably just decided to pull a Data in All Good Things and try to act old for some reason, even though he's 1,000 years older. Whatever. But yeah, I think this is an amazing mix of people who are going to play off each other in really interesting ways that I can't wait to see. I think Mary Wiseman and Bob Picardo, I'm predicting, are going to be fantastic together. She and Oded Fair had this, like, we didn't see a ton of it, but like had, I think, this like awesome chemistry, like when they were like sharing a drink, watching the world burn around them. Awesome. I can't wait to see more of them. Tig Notaro, great place to put her. I'm glad they're keeping her in Star Trek somewhere, and I think she would probably be much better placed here than like tripping over, like engineering lines and stuff in Discovery. Can't wait to have more of her. Yeah, this is, I know I said the musical, but this is the thing I've been waiting for the most, like forever. Always wanted an Academy series. Can't wait. Well, I don't want to be negative. I was kind of thinking that they were going to save like a major announcement for Mary Wiseman, like they did with like the Oscar winners, that for the fans, like, oh, okay, Mary Wiseman's like the lead, but it was just like her with 4 other people's headshots. So I hope her role isn't like downplayed a little bit. I hope she's sort of like the central character, but we'll see. At least we know she's there. So I'm happy.
I actually hope the opposite, Benji. Like, I hope they pull like the ultimate stunt and just like treat her like the neighbor you never saw on the Tim Allen show, or what, Tim, you know what I'm talking about.
She's just staring through a hole the entire time.
Yeah, she just
staring through a glory hole the
like
entire
you
time.
never see her. They
Home
reference
Improvement?
her, or you might hear her, but you like fucking
It's
never
just
see
her
her.
hair.
Yeah, like it's just like the ultimate stunt and gag of like,
Like
Like in
Norm's
Powerpuff Girls.
wife.
right,
Oh,
like
Powerpuff Girl, you only see Mrs. Bellum.
Yeah. I will say I was
Wow.
surprised by this. They said she's a guest star specifically, which I was surprised by.
Really? They said Bob Picardo's a regular, didn't they?
Yeah,
But
and
she's a guest star?
I think they said that for her and Oder, that they were.
So who's the lead? Who's the lead?
Choice. Like she left
Probably
partway through season 4 to do a stage play, so that could be her choice. Like she wants to continue in the franchise, but she has other acting chops that she wants to.
They don't have to do a stage play because that's so much more important.
Holly Hunter's got to be first on the chart, right? She's got to be first on the cast.
I think
sheet.
so.
She's such a big name.
Is this going to be kind of like a West Wing thing, maybe, and it's centering on Holly Hunter with the other cast kind of being their staff?
I don't know. The cadets. The cadets are probably end up being the stars, but I think of all of the actors that we're seeing. I can't imagine Holly Hunter would take the role without being first on the sheet. But we'll see.
Like Holly Hunter's either going to be first in the credits, or it's going to go and with Holly Hunter at the end.
Yeah,
right.
They might pull a Philippa Georgiou Prime and be like, and special guest for 1.5 episodes, Holly Hunter.
Maybe
they did answer the question of how they got Paul Giamatti in there, which was that they saw him on a press tour and apparently like literally cried at the opportunity to be in Star Trek because he loves it so much. So
yeah,
it was like when Whoopi Goldberg told people that she wanted to be in Star Trek, but people didn't believe
them.
And people didn't believe it, and they're like, "Hey, is this true?" And like, I've heard him on podcasts talk about Star Trek plot lines. This man's a fan. Get him in. Get him in.
Is the
You know
like
what though?
sorry?
Go ahead.
Is the like boyfriendish interest of Mary Weissman's character from season 5 coming back?
I
Sure he
hope
will be.
so.
Stan hopes so.
I was gonna say, don't even bring him up. Stan's not gonna be able to control himself.
I'm
Stan,
Stan
just
on
push
this
it
one.
for what's going on in your thought. Just push it for what's
Yeah.
going on in your thoughts. It's fine.
He-
There you
I'm
go.
I'm happy for her, but I do have thoughts about him a lot. He has such a pretty smile, you guys.
I was
Oh, such a
prepared
pretty smile.
for the big red alert
Right.
thing for the problematic gay alert earlier. It just happened, and I was like, "Whoa, what just happened?" But I broke it.
You'll
Yeah, it
get
was your
used to
fault.
that. The more you're on a show with me, the more you're just going to get used to that interrupting on a fairly constant basis. So,
Well,
Thought
I
he was in
haven't
trouble.
shared. While I haven't shared any of the graphs that have come from the spreadsheet, I can assure you that there is a correlation between the number of problematic gay alerts and Matt's presence on the show.
Any final thoughts on Starfleet Academy announcements made today?
I have something, if I could talk without being muted, Mr. Peter.
Can you? Let's
So
see.
we'll see. I am amazed at how heavily all of the shows are leaning into Voyager. So much Voyager, from Seven of Nine to Janeway to now the Doctor. So much Voyager, Chakotay. And of course, so much TNG with Picard Season 3. My question is, where the hell is Deep Space Nine? That's what I'm wondering. Besides the one episode of Lower Decks.
Ken,
Where
everyone's
is
still
Deep Space
circling the
Nine?
pylons. They're
Yeah,
still
that's it.
circling the pylons.
Or maybe the planet, the resort is actually on Bajor. It's not Risa, it's Bajor, and we'll see Deep Space Nine again as a waylay to a stopping point to vacation.
I mean, you got to know that Nana Visitor and Terry Farrell, you know, they would love. I don't know how you do Terry Farrell, but they would love to come back.
Yeah.
It just, you know, where are they? What's going on? So that's the one thing. They keep going after Voyager. They're picking Voyager dry, which is fine, but where's Deep Space Nine?
I've solved that riddle, though.
Love to. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Rachel. I was just going to say, Terry comes back as Jadzia's twin sister.
Yeah.
We know the host
Wow.
has a sister.
I'll take
we
it.
just don't know. Stranger things have happened.
Put her in a blonde wig. It's fine.
Yes.
Clearly a different person.
Literally
also...
Sela's wig. It would just be the little bowl wig that Denise wore.
Her twin sister Ziad.
I would also just love to see more Deep Space Nine. I feel like my hope is also, because I know how much Tani loves Deep Space Nine, that I was like, okay, if Tani's like in charge of a show, maybe there'll be more Deep Space Nine references.
I hope so. I mean, the Lower Decks episode of Deep Space Nine was fantastic, of course. But all those actors, Quark, unfortunately, we've lost a couple of the actors, of course, but all the more reason to bring some of these folks back in honor of the ones who are no longer with us. Anyway,
somebody did suggest online, super legit random tweet, that the comedy series is the perfect opportunity to bring Quark back. So why not?
It's true.
It's true.
And Nog.
No.
Maybe it's Ferenginar. Nah, it's not Ferenginar.
It's definitely not Nog.
Quark has retired from his bars. He's not producing this show.
He's moved on from the franchises to he's the new Bar Rescue senior producer. All right. What's next? All right. We got a clip from Strange New Worlds. Let's see. Let's share this. I have some thoughts. I want to say I love Strange New Worlds and I'm super excited about it. This clip has dampened my excitement slightly for at least this episode that it appears in. I've watched it 3 times. Like I said, I love Strange New Worlds, but I kind of hate it for a few reasons. Number one, I love it's the future, and here's some random science-y bullshit, and now we're all singing. Totally down for it. From their pilot, I understood how the hypospray can give some basic stuff to fuck up your face temporarily, but that was a stretch for my willing sense of disbelief. You you can't do it. Like I just don't understand how you can just become Vulcan from a hypospray. Even if I get past that, Star Trek has always had a problem with alien races being a monolith. That's a production issue, cost, whatever. Vulcans are racist assholes, and I hate it. I hate it. And this clip was so weird to me because I do believe, while I believe that Spock is the most overused character in the franchise, I love Ethan Peck and what he's doing, but if you're going to give us more of his backstory, even though we already have so much of it, cool. There's a lot to mine. Like, why does he try to lean more into his Vulcan side than his human side? I think we've had plenty of explanation in 58 years, but whatever. There's more to explore there. Let's go for it. This clip suggests to me he's just been bullied into it. Like, he has no agency. He's just being bullied into being more Vulcan. He's being teased into it. He's like, this clip to me diminishes the character of Spock and his friends. They become Vulcan and they immediately turn into racist assholes who constantly remind him that he's less than and he's only half Vulcan. It's not logical. If it's not more than rude, it's at least rude. I also hated that, like, their mission apparently happens so quick. Like, well, then why aren't Vulcans the only ones allowed in Starfleet? It's just weird to me. Now, all of that ranting said, this was a 3-minute clip in an episode that's going to have context, and in a non-serialized show. I'm cool. I'm going to still watch it, but it bothered the fuck out of me. And I know Trevor and I are going to argue about it, but this one in particular, I don't need fixed, but I will allow it. I hated the clip. I love the show though, and I'm excited to see what they come up with season 3. Trevor, since I name dropped you, let me go to you first, and then we'll open up the floor.
So I agree with a lot of the points that you shared. It just doesn't bother me because it's 3 minutes from a hour-long episode in a 10-episode season, and I have no context or understanding of what if this is a dream? What if this mission doesn't even happen? Like, I don't know yet. I have no clue. That's never been a thing, and I'm taking it down right now. You're actually losing all of your points. No, but like I have no idea the context in which this scene plays out. So like I need more information before I can just decide I hate this. Like if you had shown me a clip from, I think I said this in our text thread, if you had shown me a clip from the fairy tale episode and I had not seen Strange New Worlds yet, like if before the first season came out, they just gave us 3 minutes of that, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. If it doesn't make sense, and if it is just everything that you said just kind of wrapped up in a 60-minute episode, then I'll reach down in the bottom drawer here and grab my surprise face that Star Trek made a bad episode once. Because it's not like it's never happened before. So if it's a shitty episode, it's a shitty episode. But like, I'm not like concerned about the season. I'm not even really worried about the episode. I'm just like, make this make sense, because right now it doesn't. So I think it's a super weird choice to share this. Like, why? What is the purpose of sharing this clip? Unless they just want people to talk about it, which is probably the case. But not to jump topics, but also like with Academy, agreed with, I think Benji was the one that said it. what a weird way to announce these legacy characters that are coming, back to this show. Like, here's some photographs of some people that are also in this. You might recognize these faces. That was a weird choice. This clip is a weird choice.
I kind of had a visceral reaction to this clip. Stranger Worlds is absolutely my favorite of the current treks, and I'm still very much looking forward to it. But I agree, Trev, this is a very weird choice. And I had a visceral reaction actually when like they called Spock half, right? And it triggered just it triggered a lot of things. Um and they kind of tried this concept a little bit last season about, the human side versus the Vulcan side. And I was less concerned or offended, I think, by that episode, but I understood the issues it kind of raised, and why their conflation, I think, of race and culture, and genetics is problematic, and triggering to a lot of people. And I saw somebody say, and it resonated with me. I forget who it was, but they were like, it's really strange, like having a bunch of people kind of in blackface calling you a mulatto, right? Like you're cosplaying as a Vulcan, and then you got the nerve to call me half. Like, so it creates just a lot of questions. But I, like you, really want to wait to see. But I do find this conflation of issues, particularly in For a Laugh, to kind of be, I'll say, concerning for me.
Can I? I'm sorry, I had to pop away for a second. I don't know if somebody else was in line after Joanne, but I don't want
Yeah,
to step on toes.
go for
Okay.
it.
That honestly is a really good point. I mean, obviously Joanne always makes fantastic points, but what it just hit me was, what if we did kind of see the teaser last season of when Spock fought himself, and then it ended up being a dream sequence that he was having, that he wasn't actually fighting himself. It was this moral thing. If you look at it in that context, oh, suddenly they beamed down as Vulcans and the mission was over in 30 seconds and all of these things. It almost does make me wonder, like, is this another one of his like dreams that he was having, that like, oh, all of my friends became Vulcan and they're better than me now. Like, it almost follows that pattern of like, it was too unbelievable. Like, oh, everyone became Vulcan by a hypospray. Oh, everyone went down as a Vulcan and then the mission was over in 5 minutes. Oh, shore leave time. Like, I could actually see that, to Trevor's point too, of like that being the context, that these are things that are starting to recur in his psyche, that he's having these dreams more often now, and this was one of them that surfaced to it, and they use that as a chance to show this badass montage of everybody walking cool with the lerpa and everything, in the corridors, which also didn't entirely make sense about like, why would you be carrying a lerpa down to do clearly what seemed to be a scientific mission to fix a power regulator. Like, so it almost, now that I'm thinking about it more, makes me feel like it is something that is supposed to be unexplainable and like totally off the wall because it is a dream sequence or something. Because otherwise, yeah, I'm sorry, we had to go to Mott the barber in TNG to get a good wig for Picard and Data, and like all of these things that they couldn't do even in TNG, that now, like, oh, we can do it with a hypospray. Nurse Chapel can do anything genetically. Like, it does seem, and of course I love to suspend disbelief, but at the same time, one of my favorite things about Star Trek is it's usually grounded in some type of, even if it's a little bit of pseudoscience, within the realm of like, oh, this is an advanced technology, not just let me instantaneously change your entire genetic structure without any negative repercussions. But I do want to point out Pelia in that scene, chef's kiss. Just her
Hilarious.
like that
More
that whole
Pelia.
thing of like, the whole thing of the same thing happened with me was LSD, which also LSD, we got LDS, LSD back in the 60s and then in the 90s and then last July. Like, it was just it was fantastic. I want Star Trek Pelia, honestly. Just let
I
me see
love her
Pelia
nonsense.
in the background of every series from here on out. Just I'm glad tonight. I don't know why I can't do her accent, but
that conversation with between Pelia and Mabenga leads to me to think that maybe it's not Spock's dream, because why would Spock dream about her talking about LSD? But to your point, I agree with you. Like, look at the Enterprise incident. Now, again, everyone's gonna be like, canon, great canon, but you know, Kirk had to
We don't know
have
what that
his
is yet.
ears, right? So, they couldn't be. He had to be dressed up as a Romulan for the Enterprise incident. And you're right. In Unification 1 and 2, they had to have medical stuff happen to them for Data and Picard. So what's going on here, right? And if it truly is that they can use this vaccine to turn them into Vulcans, and it takes 3 seconds, it's just dumb. It's dumb.
She also referenced
I
it
just have to say
being.
it.
She also referenced it being an alien treatment from an advanced civilization. So there is reference to. This was
Yeah.
when Spock
Yes,
got
the liquid
changed, and the
proteins.
cure came from the people from the call center.
okay, but then so we just lost that. Like that's yet another thing. Like
Girl, I
that
didn't
was the
write it.
whole-
I'm just telling you.
No, I know. But no, I know it. No, I
Was it
totally-
the call center people?
No, Trevor, you
Yeah,
fix
it
it
was the
and you
call
fix
center
it
people.
now. How dare you?
It was the call center people, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
possible that because they didn't turn back from being Vulcan back into human, that they decided, well, we can never use this again.
I was
Who
going to say,
knows?
literally in the same
But,
scene, we see that this thing doesn't work well. So maybe that's why we don't use it more often.
Right.
Isn't this like a genetic augmentation thing? Or am I reading that wrong? Like, doesn't that make them all have to go through the same thing that number one just went through last season?
Yeah, doesn't this technically violate one of the biggest tenets of Starfleet, that you are using genetic manipulation?
Yeah, Trevor. What about that?
I believe the law specifies that it was permanent genetic modification, not temporary for the purposes
Well,
of
apparently
information.
this is permanent.
Well, right?
Vulcans forever.
So now they
Well,
will have
we
to.
did-
But I'm just going to act surprised and I'm going to throw out a crazy theory here that by the end of the episode, this problem gets solved.
Right.
Yeah, I
But
would
let's
think
also
that's
remember
could be crazy.
the true prime directive of Starfleet is it's bad unless we need to do it.
Yes, that's right.
I mean,
That's right.
we cannot use cloaking technology unless we need to. We're not allowing you to be genetically manipulated unless you need to. Like,
It's
Starfleet
kind of
has
why
yeah.
it's kind of why they've never published Federation law. Like it's just dialogue. Like we just have to rely on what a character has said. We're not actually reading the previous, the precedent that
it's oral
established
law.
the case law.
It is very telling that they have put out the rules of acquisition, but they have not put out the general orders.
Well, the
Very
Ferengi are
telling.
clearly more
Plot
organized
twist:
anyway.
Ferengi actually have more honor and structure to their legal system than Starfleet ever has, because the Ferengis get along with everyone else for commerce. Starfleet just says, "No, these are our rules. Stop. No, they're my rules."
Prime directive.
Except for
I
they get
mean-
along with everyone except for 50% of their own population.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I trust any law system that's just like, I don't know, this commander can be your lawyer.
So Benji, I totally agree. I like Vulcan Pike, but if Captain Daddy's hair gets any taller, he's going to need a second starship.
That's the only thing about it I liked. I love that they're leaning into how ridiculous his fucking hair is.
My Star Trek husband is the Romulan with the mohawk from season 1 Picard, so this is just the Silver Fox version of that.
I was like, I had very
Send me a part.
contradictory emotions of one. I was like, it's kind of fun watching the actors do this, but the same with Joanne, as someone I'm interfaith, and I have been in situations where people have told me you're not Jewish enough or you're not Catholic enough, depending on what side of the family I'm with. And sometimes with what they do with Spock, sometimes it's Strange New Worlds. So I'm like, oof, this is hitting in a spot I'm not sure you meant it to hit. And it's bringing up not great things. So I hope they're maybe putting out that that's not how it works, and that's going to be the point of the entire episode. But where it stands right now, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I love this, even
I
if like the performances might be fun.
Yeah, I wish I could share that hope, but while I love Strange New Worlds, what they've shown us thus far with their take on disability, their
Mhm.
take on Spock thus far, like they just again, I love the show, but I think for the allegory that they've been trying to do in various episodes, for me personally, they've missed the mark, and I feel like they're um, it feels very surface level what they're trying to do sometimes.
That's
And
totally
so
fair.
I worry with this clip, it's just going to be a very surface level, like fun hijinks kind of thing, and not
Mhm.
Well, maybe.
what you were
Also,
It
mean,
seems
saying.
it
also,
seems like it is like intended maybe to be this season's Spock a mock. So
yeah,
maybe this was a silly scene. Like given the amount of discourse in the fandom that there has been about Spock being a multiracial character, I find it very hard to believe that the writing staff at this point, a season or two ago maybe, but now for them to still be missing that thread is like pretty unacceptable. So my
Mhm.
hope is that the people who wrote this episode represent the character in question and what they were going through. I still think that on Paramount's part, this was like the worst possible clip that they could have isolated and shown to us, given that discourse and like the massive blind spot that they've had on that particular
and that
issue for so long.
yeah. That's it right there, Benji, right? I
Yeah.
do also share the hope because again, I love this show. And given, like I said, that I think last season when it came up, I think they were like, whoa, I give them that. Maybe they didn't realize, like, oh, this kind of is coded for some other things, right? But I think that's definitely in the atmosphere now. So for it to come back again, I do think there's some intentionality and there's some deliberateness. And I think they are probably going to take it on. But making this the kind of, woohoo, Strange New Worlds is back, show the world kind of clip, I think was just not a smart decision because it was such a hotbed issue, right? Um but I do have the confidence. I'm gonna hoping and trusting and praying, but that it's gonna work out. But I'm like, this was a bad decision. This was a bad decision to
I
make
will give
this
them one
the
one
clip.
one thing I'll throw them is that looks like a super fun acting exercise for all of those actors to do at the same time.
Mhm.
That
And
looks like a
also the
blast.
Yeah.
costumes are nuts.
Costumes,
The
they all
cosplayers are
played
gonna
great
go
Vulcans.
bananas.
I
let's
was
look
gonna
at
say
it.
I wanted to bookend with like something positive. The costumes were fire, and I loved Uhura's hair pre-vulcanizing. The vulcanizing was fun too, but pre-vulcanizing, and uh, her name is a character that's been there for Chapel.
Yvonne.
I love Chapel's hair as well. Super
But
fun.
I also want to point out, like, even I obviously all of that is an issue, but from a marketing standpoint, the show is Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And the biggest thing that you're going to show us about season 3 is the oldest world in Star Trek that we have explored to death in ever. Like, why wouldn't we be focused on literally any new strange world? We're going Strange New Worlds
We don't know that was
is,
Vulcan.
but why do they have to be Vulcans then? Why it got to be Vulcan? Like, why? Like, it's not.
Because
Like,
maybe there's a
why?
strange new world full of Vulcans.
But
It's
then
Rivendell.
it's
Yeah,
not
maybe it's
Look
maybe
like
it's
that.
Mintaka 3. Did you think about that?
Maybe
I
it's
think
time
but
travel.
like, but
Jake
that's
is
like,
right. Yeah.
I just.
Maybe it's time travel.
I would say
Oh,
I
Maybe it's
also
maybe
time
it's
travel.
Maybelline.
Maybe it's
I,
Maybelline. Yes.
I also thought it was
I was
interesting.
waiting. Somebody had to say it.
I was also thought it was interesting that they ended last season on a cliffhanger, and it's a lot of those. We don't know if these characters will make it out. Well, now I do because half of them were in this clip.
Yeah, like
Well, that's what I said. Yeah.
like we knew that they were going to, but yeah, it is weird that like you give us this cliffhanger and
Well,
whatever.
because I had noticed they had kept a lot of the characters in that cliffhanger that aren't in the original series, like I can't think Christina Chong's character. I can't think of her name right now.
La'an. Yeah,
La'an, yeah.
she's been taken by the Gorn again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, why
like,
would we
yeah,
see La'an? Of all of them that we could have
Yeah.
actually thought they would kill off.
Yes, that
and
was
kind of
even though-
might have, should have. I'm not a huge
But who
No,
didn't
but
we
like,
see? But who didn't we see?
Roger
Captain
Corbin.
Sidepiece.
Also
Yeah.
Captain Sidepiece, yeah. Captain Sidepiece. I love her. I'm
Wait,
excited
isn't she already
get
dead?
SLD. No,
No.
she has Gorn eggs within her.
Well,
Wait.
she's as good.
Who hasn't?
What am I missing?
I mean,
here?
Captain Batel in the
Oh.
season 2
What
finale.
was funny is
Right.
I had never heard anyone call her that before, but I was like, yeah, I know who you mean.
Right.
and honestly, I wouldn't normally do that, but like she's so undeveloped. To your earlier point, I was like, oh, she's an attorney. No, she was the captain of a starship. What's happening with this character? Like, she's literally just Pike's girlfriend.
Oh, I was
I'm
gonna
not
There's
call
no
her
development
Captain-
whatsoever.
I want a Star Trek JAG show with someone
Actual
talking about
attorneys.
yes, and being like, listen, we have all of these incidents where we've just pulled random Starfleet officers to act as an attorney. That's insane. And
I
Fix it.
always because like my father was a JAG, so I'm just like, that's not how this works.
Yeah. Commander Riker, as the second officer, you will be in charge of competing against your captain, because that makes sense.
You mean they don't just pull the first officer out of an aircraft carrier and say, "Oh, by the way, you need to
But
go
they
to
were-
DC to
that
testify
was-
in front of Congress"? Like,
Yeah.
is that not?
They weren't staffed up yet. That's why.
Also,
You know,
don't
Ben,
worry, it's not an
always
important.
know. We are fans of the franchise too. We always know. We're just making a different point. God.
It's
well,
Also, it's
all
not
I
an
have to say
important-
is your point stinks.
It wasn't an important case. It wasn't like it had that sort of precedent involved. We were just deciding the sentience of a life form. It's fine.
Yeah,
that's
Everything's fine.
I would say
stuff.
if
So-
that had not gone Data's way, I feel like he could have sued for like a
I
mistrial.
would hope he could appeal. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
Jake, go
definitely
ahead.
think that two things. Benji's right because they keep spouting. We talked about it earlier. Keep spouting the general orders. It's not written down. They all have to have a minor to know them all. But if we get a JAG show, I definitely need Space Viola Davis back.
Yes. We
Like,
need her
she
in
was
this
epic.
franchise for sure.
Oh, 100%.
How to Get Away with Augmentation, starring Viola Davis.
No, it's Star Trek: How to Get Away with Murder, Tuvix edition, and it's just her prosecuting Janeway the entire season.
Mine
As
was
soon as
better.
she
But that
gets
was a
back.
good effort, Matt.
Shut up.
You're pretty.
Yeah, really, they just got to go.
Oh, okay. I can make that. I can make me go for you specifically if you would like. Now you see me.
I'm pulling
Now
this
you
card.
don't. Now you see me. Now you do again. I
You
have the
put
power.
You put him in Q's penalty box.
Yes. Who? Q's penalty box. All right. Oh, hi, Michelle. I just saw that you were on. Hello. All right, next. So we got that clip. We also got a really exciting trailer for the first streaming movie, Star Trek Section 31. Let me present. So I can't play the whole thing, otherwise we will get in trouble with the YouTube. But how exciting is this? We're going to get a little bit more of her backstory. And I'm just going to skip ahead.
With you.
Get lots of fun stuff. Captain Rachel Garrett. We get that sexy. That's somebody I want to.
We
Who is
need to
that?
talk about him. We need to talk about him because I'm going to have a lot of problematic things to say.
Yes.
Bad
Hello.
dye job, big ears, big nose, cute eyes, good smile. Like, this is my man.
That is a.
Before
That is a
Sohail says anything, this one's mine.
yeah.
Damn
That,
it.
that is a twink going through something, and he can go through me.
He needs help. That's not a Vulcan. That's a Romulan.
I have to say, the necklace over the t-shirt look kills it for me every single time. I want it to
Mm.
die.
He should definitely lose the T-shirt. That's for sure.
Don't Vulcans have like the thing the Amish people do, where they go out and do a thing for a while or something?
The
Rumspringa?
Vulcan Rumspringa.
Right, he's on his Rumspringa.
I love that Formation is the song for the trailer.
Stan, are we allowed to play this?
I stopped it with enough time. I
panicked.
Yeah, under a few seconds, it should be fine. But yeah, Beyonce on a Star Trek trailer, hell yeah, I am here for it. It's different. It's taking the show or the franchise in a different direction. We get Michelle Yeoh back. We get future captain Rachel Garrett and what she was up to before that. Sam Richardson is in this as a Cameloid, who was Iman from Star Trek 6, was the first that we saw in the franchise. And he just looks like he's having a hell of a lot of fun. I am here for all of Michelle's looks. Goodness, that diamond dress, that if I had enough time, that would be my cosplay for this coming STLV. I wonder if anybody's going to try and pull it off. That would be amazing. Thoughts on the Section 31 movie? Who has any? Rachel, then Trevor, then Jake.
I just think this trailer looks cool as hell. Is like my main thought. I love that they're like, okay, they're like clearly establishing, like, yeah, we're doing something new, we're doing something different, and I also like that they're going all out for like what's going to be the first of the streaming movies to like hopefully get maybe a little bit more of like other audience members who might not be as familiar. And I have a very good friend who I got into he got into Star Trek through me, and Philippa Georgiou is his favorite character, and so every time I get to like share a new thing to him, I'm always great. And I also, I'll take the only Rachel Garrett, the only Rachel I know of in Star Trek, so I'm always happy for that. And I saw a clip the other day of Sam Richardson talking about his love of Star Trek. So I'm also really excited for like another like actor who just really loves the franchise to be involved. But yeah, I believe when I retweeted this, my response just said like, "Oh fuck yes." So that's basically my thoughts.
Yeah, I second your "oh fuck yes." I don't know if that's the appropriate way of describing that, but I'm gonna run with it. So we kind of already know what era this is, and where we've wondered for a long time where the Guardian was sending Jojo, but apparently we've known that for a little bit since the reveal of Rachel Garrett. But what I don't think we had any idea was going to happen, and I don't think I had planned for, was what is clearly the flashbacks that we're getting into how she became the Emperor, into how they're trying to, what it looks like they're trying to, I mean, we didn't, it's a trailer, we didn't get a ton of scenes or anything like that, but what it appears, and what I'm hoping is happening, is that they're trying to take the mustache twirly, this is the whole concept of the mirror universe is silly, removing that veil away and actually making Giorgio the product of a horrible environment that was traumatic and brutal and nasty, and making it make a little more sense as to why she became this horrible person, instead of just, it's the mirror universe, so everyone's just evil. Like no, give me more. And they're giving it to us, but just in describing how she became who she is, which aids in the attempted redemption of the character. I think landing her in Section 31 just makes sense, because what else do you do with her? At least in the Prime universe. And that we're getting these flashbacks that kind of explain and fill in blanks and make this character more three-dimensional. And then we're like, oh, by the way, it's also a James Bond movie, just in Star Trek. It is basically just hitting everything that it should hit. So ecstatic for all of that. It will be actiony, and there will be phasers, and things will blow up, and that'll be great. But it looks like it's got a lot more depth to it, which I appreciate.
I had, because it's the same vibe. Like of all the stuff, Robert Picardo was my thing, but this is the trailer I liked the best. Just because there was so much going on, and there were so many characters, Casey Roll, who plays Garrett, I loved her character in The Magicians, and I don't see her in enough. And that was such a fun character to kind of hang out with. So I'm super excited because, I mean, there hasn't been a Rachel Garrett other than Yesterday's Enterprise, right? So I'm super pumped to see like the origin of this character to go on to become, the Enterprise captain. I love Sam Richardson, and I love this guy who looks like he's going to play a better Master Chief than Paramount made in their other show. So I'm pumped for all of this.
I am thrilled about it, and I think that this is a movie that could genuinely bring new people into the fold. I think this was one of those things I was sitting. I was always a little bit worried, obviously, since it's in that like Lost era. Um, we're a little more loose with what Section 31 can and can't do. Like, we haven't gotten to TNG where, we're righteous and Starfleet doesn't do these things and we're not the Romulans with the Tal Shiar or the Obsidian Order. Like, there's still a little bit like, oh, well, we did do, the whole undiscovered country thing and the whole assassination and Rene Aubergenois and all that. This is still a fun time period where that stuff can happen, and I do love that they have a Starfleet officer that is part of it that's like, hey, I'm here to make sure you don't fuck things up because you are Section 31. I'm really excited to see where they take it. I'm thrilled with this, and I am also thrilled that it looks like upon some investigative research that the Vulcan Romulan twink might actually be gay. So that's fun.
And he looks very nice. Ken, did you have any thoughts on the Section 31 trailer?
I'm just not. I just am very excited to see them try this new format. This TV movie format. Michelle Yeoh is clearly a powerhouse, and it'll be very. I have no doubt that it's going to be a fantastic show. I also have no doubt that on her capital, they'll bring in more than the Star Trek audience just on her capital alone, which will be a lot of fun. And I think that if they do it well, which again I think they will, then we'll see more of these 2-hour movies, and that could be, going back to what I said before, that could be the entree back into some Deep Space Nine stuff. So we'll see how that goes.
Joanne or Benji?
Looks bitchy as fuck. I'm here for it.
Yes.
She was just serving all the things. And like I said, like I said to DT in the chat, I was like, oh, I thought that was common. But it was Omari.
Yeah.
Fine.
He looked a little like common in Silo. So I thought that too at
Yeah.
first. Because the jacket with a black shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is fine. I'm very excited about how sexy this movie is going to be.
And that's what it is. That's what I was gonna say. Like the whole trailer was very sexy and hot. So that's exciting. But I'm hoping, I wasn't expecting the origin story, but I'm also hoping that this just puts a fucking bow on Section 31 so we can just kind of move on with our lives. So, that's my hope.
To that point, my only worry is that this is gonna be a huge obviously I'm not worried about it being a huge success, but it's gonna be a huge success, and then it's gonna be like, oh, Star Trek Section 31, let's figure out, and it's gonna be like, because Section 31 was always supposed to be the anti-Starfleet. It was supposed to be the anti-Star Trek ideals. It was supposed to be like, this is not what we are. This is what happens in the shadows that we're still trying to root out. This is our bad cavity that we just can't get rid of, but we still try to brush enough to get rid of it. And I don't want it to be like, oh, the audience really likes it when we blow shit up.
No, it needs to go away. It needs to go away. I think the Starfleet needs Section 31. I'm of the opinion they do, but we don't fucking need to see it. And
we don't need to glow.
And the franchise just doesn't know what to do with it. And it just needs to go away.
I agree. And I think Michelle Yeoh is so synonymous with the concept now that her availability is a very easy excuse to be like, we would love to do more stories, but she's busy. We're gonna do other kinds of movies. I'm of the mindset I'm gonna piss off a lot of people. I like the idea of a legacy movie more than a series. Or if a movie kicks off a series, legacy with a pared down sensibility with maybe just Jerry and Michelle returning and some of the bridge crew, not the counselor to the captain, though, not the new Naomi Wildman, who may or may not be related to a Picard. I have thoughts, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Final thoughts on Section 31 trailer.
Just
Trevor.
really grateful to the Star Trek gods that no one decided to take any of these incredibly gorgeous people and cover them with prosthetics.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Give
it is there
those
is
sexy eyes.
I feel like Star Trek may have learned its Idris Elba lesson.
Yes.
but it is clearly a gang. So I'm getting a sense of like Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13 kind of idea coming out of this with this gang of people that she's pulled together. Because even if she's not there, they could establish this gang to continue in future movies. But we'll see. But yeah, it's a sexy, beautiful, wonderful looking cast, and we'll see how it does. It's not coming till next year though, but that's unfortunate. So
Yeah. Early next year was the direct quote.
yeah.
So hopefully that means February. That's usually when they say early in a year, things have dropped in February. So fingers crossed. All right. The last thing that we have to discuss is the tragic final season of Star Trek Lower Decks. It will be ending after this 5th season. We got a teaser trailer, which Ken pointed out earlier, has a lovely Star Trek 6 motif to it, followed by a few fun little bits, including a parallels type situation coming up with, let me share my screen. We get Captain Becky Freeman on what appears to be an alternate universe Cerritos with, I love it, Barnes is still there, bearded Boimler, but her first officer is still Ransom. We get Ta'ana, we get Shax, and a even more Borgified Rutherford. Lots of fun stuff happening, just little tidbits. Ma'og is back. Who has thoughts about this teaser for Lower Decks? Who wants to kick us off? I see no hands, so no one is excited about Lower Decks. All right, let's go to Trevor and then Ken.
I'm both excited and sad because final season just has a sting to it that I mean I'm still not over final season of Discovery. So yet another show ending, in my opinion, a little too abruptly. It stings a little bit, but that said, brilliant trailer as always. You know, the trailer is almost like an episode of Lower Decks by the time they're done, and I just hope that I know that we're getting Tawny's voice through her writing in Starfleet Academy, but I really hope that she ends up being a character in something, because I just would be very, very sad if this was the last time we literally heard her, and frankly, all the other characters as well. I did see, I can't remember who it was that made the comment, but one of the cast members at Comic-Con mentioned wanting to do a Lower Decks movie, but have it be half live action, half animated. But there's so much runway for this show even after it's over that they can do so many different things. I hope and have a sneaking like inkling that this is not the last we'll see of them, and we'll see which banner is going to be useful, the Trev is right or Trev is wrong banner, but hopefully it's the right one.
Real quick, Ken, before I just want to answer some things in the chat. T'Lyn was in the trailer very, very briefly, just coming out of a turbo lift. So she's part of season 5 for sure. Ken, go for it.
Yeah, I think they leaned into the fact that this was, their last season, and then they clearly said, "No, we're not done." I think that they're not done. I really think that we're gonna, by this time next year when we get to Comic-Con or STLV again next cycle, it's not the end of Lower Decks. I mean, there's just so much, even just looking at the fact that the crossover with Strange New Worlds was so incredibly beloved. It would not surprise me at all if even after season 5 of Lower Decks is done, they do another crossover, half animated, half live action. Just because, Tawny Newsome and what's his name?
Jack
The
Quaid.
actor, thank you, Jack Quaid. They did such a great job. Such a great
Well-
job in their live action versions.
And remember that Paramount's whole, Paramount, the whole whatever they're calling themselves, Para Skydance, Dance Mount, Para Plus.
Paradance.
The whole thing was like diversifying and being able to get away from, and there's nothing to say that like they aren't doing the same thing with Lower Decks that they did with Prodigy, that somebody else might pick up Lower Decks and say, hey, we see what's here, let's see where we can take it. And obviously Tawny Newsome has done an incredible job of showing the worth of the franchise and of herself as both an actor and a producer and a writer and all of these things. So I can't imagine that she, of all people, would let it just die. It almost feels like this whole time, with all of the climate that Lower Decks has been in and Prodigy has been in, that they all kind of are like, okay, we're going to shop around and see who picks it up, because this is an easy enough thing to make. It's animated. It's not even 3D animated. It doesn't take as much as, Prodigy did. And so it would be very easy for Netflix to say, you know what, we're going to take animated Star Trek. And so now we have the kids Prodigy and Lower Decks. Live action gets to go over to Paramount Plus Skydance. So I could definitely see, I was getting that feeling when I was watching the trailer of like, oh, they're not done. Like they know there's something going on in the background, that there's something else here. Even if it's the last season.
Yeah, I think
Paramount.
Michelle's hitting it too. That licensing out content is probably in Star Trek's future again, even more so than it's been in the last couple of years. All of the reporting about the potential merger has been decent for Paramount Plus. They don't want to completely get rid of it. In fact, they want to improve it. But they also something in the press release about the tentpole franchises being, I forget the exact wording, but it was basically like a positive for the streaming service direct and with other partners. So it was very, very clearly talking about licensing it out as well. I also just realized as we were talking, what a fun opportunity the new series will have for cameos. Is apparently it's going to be in the 25th century. So a Captain Boimler may have a holiday at Tawny Newsome's. Hell, maybe it is Beckett Mariner who is co-running this resort.
I would love that.
How insane would that be?
I also had like bittersweet feelings of it because I really didn't want it to end. And then they're like, we're not ending. And I was like, I can't tell if this is them like, we know something, or this is them being like, we're not going out without a fight. Like, it shouldn't be the end, and we're going to try to make it that it's not the end. By just refusing to acknowledge the fact that Paramount Plus is, and apparently, as far as I can tell, just doesn't want animated things on the platform. Which is unfortunate for the company that owns Nickelodeon. But it's just like a weird mix of like, I'm so excited to watch this, but I'm so sad that it's ending, and doesn't, as far as I can tell, doesn't seem to be getting like a proper finale. Because there's no way they had planned to have one, like, from when this would have all been done.
Maybe Nickelodeon's the problem. They're a trash monster.
That is an excellent place to end it. The final word will go with Joanne. Trevor, give us our tallies for the evening.
You gotta give me more of a warning after Joanne drops the mic like that. So our first away team scorecard. So that's exciting. 4 problematic gay alerts. Congrats, guys, for something not remotely dirty. You did a great job of being filthy minded. Bonus points, 500 bonus points to both Rachel and Jake for achieving longtime listener, first time Saloner status. Congrats. 1,500 bonus points to Matt for finally landing the Maybelline joke because we were waiting. And 450,000 points to Michelle in the chat, just making up for lost time.
Yes, welcome back, Michelle. Always lovely to have you. Well, y'all, that is it for our Salon away team. Lots of exciting stuff announced today. The future of Star Trek looks bright as hell, sexy as fuck, and exciting as all get out. So super jazzed. We will be back a week from this coming Thursday to continue talking about Star Trek Prodigy Season 2. Now on Netflix. Stream it now, and restream it. This Thursday to Sunday, though, we will be at STLV. So no Salon this coming Thursday. A week from this Thursday, we will continue talking first about all of the fun stuff that we get down to in Vegas. It will not all stay in Vegas.
Not all the fun stuff, but some of the fun stuff.
Some of it. Some things will stay in Vegas. Some things will not stay in Vegas. And until then, I hope everybody lives long and prospers.